To move on and get your calls on this. Should bosses of failing water companies be forced to hand back their bonuses? 0207 862 2222 is the number. Give us a ring. Thames Water CEO defended receiving his £195,000 bonus on top of his £2.3 million salary just 3 months into his job last year. He was being grilled by MPs about the company's performance. Thames Water has debts of about £19 billion. The government's shelling out for a £3 billion rescue loan, but bills are still set to rise by 35% by 2030 to around £588 per household per year. I mean, I'd love a business like this, Rick, where you can't really choose your water provider, so you can't go elsewhere. They can run up all the debts they want, pay themselves bonuses, pay the shareholders out, and then it just seems like you get the bonus.
Absolutely.
And then they just find another boss. There's 5 in 5 years, I think.
Can you believe it? 3 months you got this bonus off. Okay. But what are we going to do? Claw it back?
Make him pay it back.
I'd love to see the legislation that's going to make that happen. It's not possible. I look at that and I just think that is ridiculous. This is a failing company that we continue to bail out. It drives me up the wall, this water stuff. The price of water has gone through the roof. I've been talking about it so much, writing and talking about it on my programme, like endlessly. It's gone up £10 a month recently. Water bills are through the roof. If you've got young kids at the moment and you have to run the bath every night, I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and you're on a water meter. More of us are on water meters.
You're making a very strong case for renationalising the water industry.
The point I want to make on this, Matt, is that this guy's got a bonus, right? We're looking at him and go, he shouldn't have got that bonus. How many people out there have got a bonus who you don't agree with, who didn't get that bonus? Look at it in the broader perspective of private wealth. Someone gets a bonus and you go, you know what, I don't like the job you've done. I'm going to claw that money back. So at the end of the year, you got a bonus, let's call it £2,000 or whatever, because you've done a good job on an average salary of about £28,000. And they go, no, I don't like what you did. I'm going to claw that money back. What type of confidence would that put between an employer and an employee? I tell you, zero.
Different. This is something we cannot. We literally cannot live without water.
It's a private company,
we
Matt.
have to have it.
It's a public service, though.
You're making a strong case for renationalisation.
Look, I think there is.
Do you agree with it? Do you agree with renationalising?
I think in the case of Thames Water, it's failed so many times that renationalising it is probably the only thing that's left at the moment. But the idea that we can claw people's back in any business whatsoever, that we give someone money and then use thousands of pounds of lawyers, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, a lot more than 195 grand to get that money back is just madness. Okay. It's happened, so stop it happening in the future, but let's not try and claw it back.
Faiza, I want to take your thoughts after the break. Let's get straight to your calls, though, on whether water company bosses should be forced to hand back their bonuses. Loads coming in on this because people feel very, very strongly. Alan is in Peterborough. Alan, tell me what you think. Is it time to force these people to hand back thousands and thousands of pounds?
Yes. Hello, panel, and
hello,
my musical friend.
Is that me?
I think you've not even gone far enough.
Okay.
These people have been polluting our waters for decades, and they shouldn't just be forced to hand their bonuses back. They should have all their assets taken away from them and put on trial for criminality, because that's where it is. It is a crime. People who go in the water expecting it to be fresh with their children and everything else that goes on around water. We are an island. Water is essential to the existence of this island. And I believe these people have been so irresponsible that they should be put on trial and put in prison. Not just the dazed, but everybody who's been an executive of those companies till they started dumping all the crap into our normal places.
Alan,
that's what I feel.
Apologies for if Alan's language upset you there, but I mean, you're speaking obviously your truth. We know the Environment Agency is investigating, so is Ofwat, looking into the state of sewage dumping. I'm just wondering, Alan, is this just part of what happens when you hand over an essential service to a private company?
It's partly that, yes, but I believe the civil servants, etc., who are in charge of the system should have put in rules which prevented them doing this before they became private. Let's face it, the water companies are a cartel. I live in East Anglia. I can't move to Manchester or some other place to get my water supply. And I know that they're building this great big pipeline which is going to move water from the wetter places in the country, but they want us to pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean, strong
What
words.
What I've actually done is this. I have contacted my water company. I have cancelled my direct debit, and I recommend that we all do this. I am going to pay them 1p, not £26 a month, 1p until this is all resolved.
Well, Alan, if you continue to take the water, obviously you have to pay your bills. Otherwise, you will get in all sorts of trouble. So we can't obviously endorse that. Faiza, I did say I was going to come to you for your thoughts, but I think Alan makes an incredibly strong point. Obviously, for a lot of people, the strength of feeling is that we have been let down with something that's the difference, right? We can't live without water.
You know, I understand actually, okay, we don't want Alan to get in trouble, but at the end of the day, people feel so frustrated. They're kind of thinking, well, what can I do? This is not right. This is daylight robbery. And so to put pressure on a company and an exec to give back their bonus, and there are ways in which a government could do it. So, for instance, we're not bailing you out. We're not going to give you this money unless you give back that bonus. And they'll have to give it back, right? So legally you might have problems, but there's other ways in which you put pressure on these companies. But there is a bigger problem here. In every way, these companies have failed. Our bills have gone up. Sewage in the sea, I mean, it's absolutely disgusting and wrong, and it should be illegal. A lot of our MPs voted for this. We have to remember that as well. And we're still seeing loads of water lost from the system. They haven't invested in infrastructure. Instead, they've given their money to dividends. Often, actually, companies from abroad, Australia and elsewhere, that have their own company, their own water companies and public ownership, have got a piece of ours, and we're paying them money. So it's an absolute, complete mess in every way. And I'm really angry too.
Thames Water are calling this a turnaround regime. They are saying these are going to be the bosses that make the difference. This bonus is because...
I haven't heard that before.
Well, I mean, we've had, I think it's 5 bosses in 5 years, but this is the boss who's made the big difference in the first 3 months, and that's why he's been handed a bonus of many tens of thousands of pounds.
No, I mean, I think it's embarrassing for him. Doesn't he have any shame? 3 months, really, to turn? And what have you really turned around? My Thames Water bill has just gone up, like everyone around me. And so I think they need to. They're very disconnected. He's obviously very disconnected from the people and the anger around this issue. And absolutely, we should be getting those bonuses. And we should be stopping it in the longer term. And we should be bringing them back into public ownership.
Okay, the argument is that if you want talented execs, you pay talented execs the right money to get people that can make a difference.
Well, again, I mean, their own record tells us that that's just complete rubbish, really, right? I mean, they've had talented individual paid huge bonuses year after year, and not just Thames Water, water companies around the country. And where has that got us? Well, it's got us to a situation where our seas and rivers are full of sewage.
It's failed, but
it's
failed, and we agree. But if we go to any profession,
no, there needs to be some accountability.
But if we went back to something that you've done in a different job, I don't know. So say you worked at, Marks and Spencer's has been in trouble recently, hasn't it? It was hacked. Did we go to the bosses, right, we're going to claw back half of your earnings from last year?
But we can shop around. If we don't like Marks and Spencer's, we can go to John Lewis. We can go somewhere else on the high street and buy the things we need to be. We can't choose another water provider.
No,
like Alan says, we can't move to Manchester to get them North West Water to look after us.
And look, this is ultimately a public service, right? And so, it's different with commercial properties. You can go back and say...
It is a public service, but it's a private company.
You can say
currently.
if Marks and Spencer's does something wrong, right? People stop buying from them and then those bonuses come down. Here, these water companies are making mistake after mistake and they're still getting bonuses. And there's no way for us to put pressure on them.
But you can't go and take money out of someone's account once they've been paid.
Well, there are ways. There are ways to put pressure on them.
We saw the post office scandal that enough pressure if you put enough pressure on, then things change. People are forced to hand back awards. They're forced to backtrack on what
they did.
There is a bit of hope here. I think we're talking quite negatively about what's going on, but there is a bit of hope for what Alan was saying. That there is a new bill that's just gone through Parliament called the Water Special Measures Act, and it basically gives Ofwat, the regulator, a bit of power to actually come down on these companies much harsher than they've been able to do before. Okay. And hopefully, bit of hope, they'll use that power.
OK, let's take another call. Diane's in Northumberland. Diane, would you take those bonuses back from the bosses of Thames Water?
I would never have given them in the first place. You don't reward somebody for making a complete and utter mess. I mean, I used to feed children. Would I have got paid if I'd poisoned them? You know, I mean, it's absolute. This country is lunatics. Where you can make money, you should be making it for the country, not for one individual person. I mean, how much money have they wasted that could have gone into the NHS or anywhere else?